It is going to rain soon and we got some stuff to do, but in today's video I'm going to be talking to you guys why you should buy a M235i in 2025. It's quite loud. Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's pretty cold out today, but in today's video I'm going to be talking to you guys about why I think the M235i is one of the best cars you could buy for money in 2025. So the reason I'm going to be talking to you about this is because I recently had a debate with my dad about M cars and the price of them. So without any further ado, I'll put you guys up on the stand and enjoy the rest of the video. So like always, like I've always done whenever I drive the car, oil's up to about 35 degrees Celsius. Always let it just warm up, especially with these N55s, which I'll talk to you guys about today. You want to make sure you let the oil warm up at least a little bit, especially if you live in a cold climate and it's winter time in the UK. It's pretty cold, so little tip for you guys there. So the topic for today's video is going to be kind of, is the M235i still valid in 2025, and why I think it's still a really good car to buy in this current year. So I did make a video last year about is it still valid in 2024, but obviously it's a different year now, so time to make a different one. And the reason I made that video was obviously my car's just over 10 years old, so it's recently had its 10th birthday, I guess you could say, and it really doesn't feel 10 years old. I'm sitting in it today thinking this could quite easily be a 2017, 2018, pushing 2020 car. It doesn't feel old to me at all. Maybe that's because BMW's interior hasn't really changed too much as of recently, apart from their newer stuff. Maybe that's something to do with it, but the inside of the car feels like a really nice place to be. So we're going to be going over around 3 points, and the points we're going to be going over are the price of them, the power you can get out of them, and the reliability long term. So they're the 3 points we're going to be covering. So let's start straight off the bat with power. So the M235i comes with around 326 horsepower from the factory. Now, that's your baseline power, and in my opinion, that's plenty. That's enough for what you'd ever need. So you don't actually need to tune these cars to have fun. They come with a lot of power from stock. However, they do have the option to have that power increased. There's loads of softwares out there. You can go for a private tuner, or you can go for something down the lines like I've got with MHD or Boot Mod 3. In my case, I just keep my MHD adapter down here. That's what I'm using, so that's what I tune my car with. But there's loads of options for you guys out there. So that's kind of the power, and you can push over 400 brake with these reliably, and it's kind of more than you'd ever really need kind of to play around with the car basically. So that's power talked about. So now we'll talk a little bit about price, and this is where I kind of had a debate with my dad about it. So we're talking about M2s. Now M2s have come down, the OG ones now with the N55, they've come down in price really reasonably, and obviously because they've come down so much, the price of the M235i, which people call like the baby M2, that's come down in price significantly. So against the differences, this isn't going to be a M235i versus M2 scenario. That's not what we're going to really be talking about. The main points are, obviously there's a few suspension changes with the M cars. They're wider, they look the part, don't get me wrong, and it's an M car, so it's not even a debate comparing it to an M Lite. But price wise, you can pick these cars up for pennies these days for what they are. In the UK, there's a lot of categoried ones of these, so obviously the price of those is way cheaper than a non-category, the HPI clear one. So if you did want to pick up a damaged one that's been repaired, then they're cheap as chips really. And you could pick up a decently high spec one with fairly low mileage category for around 10 grand. If you want to get a high spec one, low mileage that is kind of all clean, the clean title, you're looking at around the 13, 14 grand kind of mark, which is similar to what I paid for this. So price wise, you're getting a lot of car for the money, and you can have all the gadgets like BMWs have with the Harman Kardon, the big screen Pro Nav, Apple CarPlay, you name it, heated seats. You can get all of these things for a really reasonable price. So that's the price line of it, and what we'll do now is just hear the car a little bit, because we've got a little bit of straight road, and this car sounds incredible. Yeah, didn't want to open it up too much then, because obviously the rod bearings aren't, they're a touchy subject with this car, and we're not up to around oil temperature I'd like to be, so I didn't push it too hard. But price-wise, you really can't go wrong with these type of cars. All right, just gonna pick some up from the shop. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, now that's that done, let's talk about reliability. Okay, so the next part we're going to be talking about is reliability. Now, typical N55s, we have spare oil in the car. So basically, now that that's done, and I had to top it up, unfortunately, let me talk to you guys a little bit more about the reliability that I've had with this car. Tell you what, you have got to love the UK weather. It is absolutely lovely today. Lovely when I set off, and that's pouring with rain. So, the reliability with the M235i, what's it been like? I will just say, in my opinion, with my experience, it's been faultless. I haven't had any issues with this car. Maybe down to my maintenance scheme. I'm a little bit OTT with oil changes and the maintenance on this car, so maybe that has something to do with it. However, I haven't had any issues with this M235i since I've owned it, apart from the few small things like the steering knock bush, which I had to replace, as well as frequent oil changes, spark plugs, oil, you know, that's just your maintenance kind of stuff. Regarding anything that's gone bang, like head gasket or timing chain, rod bearings, for example, nothing along those lines. So reliability, if you were to buy one of these in 2025, I would try to look for one with low miles and one owner, because the reason I say that is what a lot of these cars suffer from is going through multiple owners, and what happens is the oil doesn't have a chance to heat up, people abuse the cars, they get driven hard, which causes the oil starvation issues. So if you can get one that's had one owner and they've got some sort of maintenance routine that they've done and they've looked after it, you'll be set. That's what I did with this car. It's been well looked after before I had it, and I've looked after it extremely well too, and the car will look after you in return. So, final thoughts on this. Would it be a good idea to buy an M235i in 2025? With the 240 being out, I would say it's still a good car to buy, but you've just got to buy the right one. And the reason I say that is because obviously the B58 currently is a more reliable car. Something crazy going on today. I've never seen so many police in my life. Anyway, back to what I was saying. If you get one that's been reliably maintained, the 240 may be more reliable and produce more power now. However, in the long term, things will change. Get one that's reasonably priced. Try to get one that hasn't been damaged and has had a lot of history done and low miles. You'll enjoy it, look after it in your ownership, and the car will look after you in return. And most importantly, just enjoy it. These cars are meant to be driven, and they're meant to be cars that you can have fun in. So I would suggest that you hop in it, don't be afraid about driving it, don't keep it as a garage queen. Enjoy the car and have some fun with it. That's why you buy it in the first place, isn't it? So pretty much, guys, thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of the video. We're going to get some flybys and some sound clips from inside the cabin. Just need to go to the shop again, so catch you guys in a minute. Guys, if you enjoy this type of content, subscribe to the channel. It's free and it really helps me out. And if you enjoyed this video in particular, then please give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And post loads of content on the N55 platform, more commonly in this M235i, but there's also a lot of car stuff on the channel. So if you were to watch a couple more videos, I'd really appreciate it. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you